Hey, what's up guys? Justin at Empire Music in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Today we are taking a closer look at the new Martin Standard series, specifically the D-28 Standard. And in this video I'll be comparing the new D-28 Standard to the old D-28 Standard. So we'll hear the difference between the two guitars. Now we have long forms on all the new Standard models. Go to our website or our YouTube channel for that. Long forms that Joe has done where we'll go through these guitars and he'll hit on all the new changes spec by spec, and you'll be able to hear the guitar by itself. But in this video, we'll compare to see what these upgrades and this refresh actually means in terms of feel and your sonic experience playing these guitars. So remember, empiremusic.com, check out those videos. Full factory setup on these guitars before we ship to you, and our photos are always listed by serial number so you can see the exact guitar before you buy it. All right, so the Martin refresh, we're really excited about it because what they did with these guitars is really incredible. We're revisiting some older vintage specs with these changes. And I'll start at the top of the guitar and work down, and we can kind of talk through it. So you'll see some aesthetic changes at the top of the guitar. One on the back of the guitar, I'll flip it over. We have the long diamond on the back of the headstock. Long diamond transition, whereas the old Standard it was a shorter diamond. This is more in line with, vintage styling. It's what you would see on on the Martin D-28 Authentic, for instance, vintage spec. Also, we have the nut, the way that the nut is installed on this guitar. There's a little bit more of a break angle. It's cut at an angle, whereas the old model was was cut at a 90 degree. The new one actually follows the angle of the headstock, which actually creates a little bit more of a break angle at the back end. And again, vintage spec, something you would expect on a golden era Martin. Moving down, this is probably the biggest change in terms of feel on the guitar would be the neck itself. Thinner fingerboard front to back. And when they do that, the neck will feel the same. It's the same profile. So they added some material to the neck itself to compensate for the material they took away on the fretboard. But when they do that, you get a little bit more of a rounded edge to the edge of the fingerboard, which is super comfortable. They have new machining that is allowing them to build these guitars, is my understanding. So to incorporate this feature, and it is a noticeable difference in the way that the guitar feels. It's not a night and day difference, but it is noticeable as you play this guitar. So I really like the way this guitar feels. It's a little more broken in, and it's a joy to play for a while. I notice a definite difference, especially with this nut width. I notice a definite difference in the way that the shoulder feels on this guitar versus the old one. So welcome change there. Now moving down to the body, we have what is sonically going to be the biggest change on this guitar, which is the reincorporation of golden era bracing. So golden era bracing, we're going to have scallop braces on the inside of the guitar, as well as the bridge plate underneath the bridge that reinforces that area is slightly smaller. It's about 30% smaller than the old one, so a little less mass there. All of that translates to a top that is less stiff and is way more dynamic, and that was very apparent right out of the case when we picked up these guitars and started playing them. A-being them with the old ones was wow, it's a more resonant instrument, and it's a punchier bass, but more importantly it sounds more mature. So it's a more complicated bracing design. We see variations of this in Martin's lineup, like on the Modern Deluxe, the Authentic series, all to varying degrees, all scalloped to varying degrees, but putting it back on the D-28 is, again, it's a difference that you can really hear when you play these guitars. You can feel it. You don't have to lay into the guitar to get the best sound out of it. The guitar sounds better faster with the scallop bracing. So we'll compare it in a second here. Some extra touches, bone nut and saddle on I believe every model in the Standard series now. as well as bridge pins will be bone or ebony, I believe, on the entire standard lineup. So I believe that's it. One more aesthetic difference would be the heel is a little bit sleeker where it meets the body. Just, again, vintage spec. Honestly, it's not something I would have picked up on if I didn't know about it, but it is one of those little things that everything's working to just make this guitar, again, more friendly to vintage enthusiasts, more original to the first D-28s. So let's get into it. Let's play these guitars. We'll do a little fingerstyle. We'll use a pick, try to keep it consistent so you can really kind of hear the difference between these two models. All right, so playing the two guitars back to back, one thing that jumped out to me as a player, especially fingerstyle, which I play a lot of, is just how much more responsive the newer 2025 model is with scallop bracing. There's an openness and airiness to the way that it sounds and feels that you don't get out of the 2024 model. Strumming the guitars back to back, the 2024 model, the older model, almost sounds like the sound is trying to escape the guitar but just can't. And the newer model with scallop bracing and all the changes on the guitar, again, more open, more responsive. Especially fingerstyle, I really didn't have to put much into it to get the guitar to sound awesome. So let me know what you think in the comments. Always interested in how this comes through to you via video. If you have more questions about the new standards, go to the website. We have a chat feature there. Also, feel free to call the shop during business hours. Glad to talk to you about these guitars and find which one is right for you. Thanks for watching.